There are two main methods used for aligning lasers during this lab. Using an all-collimating alignment telescope is hard to use for very narrow bore lasers, such as helium neon, so using a laser to align the other laser was used in this experiment.
We first aligned the gas cavity so that the alignment laser went through, and then adjusted the tip and tilt of the mirror until we got lasing. Then the spider web was added, and the mirror was adjusted again to obtain modes, of which we were able to obtain 3.
For a scanning Fabry Perot, only light that is near perfect resonance with an integer number of half waves optical path length in the cavity will transmit well, providing a very narrow bandwidth filter for transmitted light. The mirror separation, however, can be scanned in time to produce a time-varying narrow spectral filter called a scanning Fabry-Perot cavity. Since the mirror cavity is a certain length, a certain wavelength can only oscillate so many times in the cavity. So the wavelength can be determined, shown by this equation here. Our measurement of the laser cavity was 37.9 centimeters, giving us a longitudinal mode spacing of 3.96 times 10 to the 8th hertz. The electrospectrum analyzer gave us a frequency peak at 4.36 times 10 to the 8 hertz, which is close to the measured value. Since the laser cavity should be smaller than we measured, the difference makes sense.
T found using the scanning Fabry-Perot interferometer was 540 microseconds, which gave a longitudinal mode spacing of 443 megahertz, calculated using this equation, with a period of 12.2 milliseconds. From this longitudinal mode spacing, a cavity length of 33.9 centimeters was calculated, which is 11.8% off of our measured value of 37.9 centimeters.
The divergence angle of an output of a helium neon laser can be measured using a commercial beam profiler. The output should be close to the Gaussian beam, and the measurements can be used to find the beam waist, divergent angle, and numerical aperture of the output. This procedure makes sense since we are measuring the divergence of the beam over a range of distances away from the source. Starting 10 centimeters from the surface of the laser, the beam was measured using this software here to find the beam width. It was then remeasured in 10 centimeter increments.
Beam diameter was found by taking half of the minimum diameter measured, as the beam waist is the radius of the minimum beam width. The divergence angle was found by taking the inverse tangent of the slope of the data in the linear region, and then multiplying the value by 2, as the angle calculated is the half angle of the system. Numerical aperture was then calculated using the divergence angle.